Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Home Studio Simplified channel. We are about 5 minutes early, and that's okay. What we're going to be doing today is a little bit of Q&A. This is Ask Me Anything. Looks like we've already got some questions coming in, which that's very exciting. So thank you all for showing up, and as those of you who are sort of piling in even now, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You're in a safe space. You're not going to be made fun of. You're not going to be told, like, that was a stupid question. Why'd you ever ask it? There are no stupid, well, I take that back. There are actually some stupid questions, but even if there is a stupid question, you will not be made to feel like it was stupid, because we all have to start somewhere, right? I mean, all of us have to start somewhere. With that being said, if you're a music producer or you're trying to get your mixing chops up to speed where they need to be, you've definitely landed in a good spot to do that. That's what we're all about here on this channel, is trying to help you get the best out of your studio, make music that you're proud of releasing, and also giving you the tools, the tips, the interviews that you need with industry leaders that can help you to get to that next level. And a lot of this, you know, is better caught than it is taught. I do my best to teach what I can around here, but if you just take and apply the things that you learn on this channel, I've already seen on numerous occasions with hundreds of people already who have taken just simple little tweaks to their pre-existing setups and have made amazing music because of it. And there's some awesome individuals here in the chat that can help you as well. I'm going to be doing my best to get to all of the questions today. But before we get into that, let me make you aware of the fact that we still have a mix/remix contest going on for the month of July. Now, if you are unaware of this, it's super cool. There's prizes involved. More so than anything, though, you're going to be able to, yet again, like I just said, this is about building up your chops. This is about making sure that you're actually being active and pursuing your dreams of what you love. Because, you know, you can have all kinds of dreams and you can have all kinds of creativity, but if you never actually put the pedal to the metal, the rubber to the road, you never actually try to do anything with it, then all it is it's just words. It's just futile words. But if you can start applying yourself, and with something as simple as this, just take the song, take the multi-tracks that you'll get from this, download them, mix them. You still have 2 days to do so, which is plenty of time because the tracks are pretty well recorded. And it's really just up to you as far as, you know, can you do it? I believe you can. Should you do it? I definitely believe you should. Do you want to do it? Probably not, but that's okay. You have to start putting yourself out there. That's what this is all about. And I'm here to sort of give you that gentle nudge to try to get you on the right track. So with that being said, let me make sure I check the chat here. I need to make sure that I can actually see it on my screen as well. That would definitely help. So let me get that pulled up real quick. And while we're doing that, if you're new to this channel exists literally to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. We can dream alone. We can even create alone, like I just said, but together we can achieve so much more. And by way of togetherness, here's some awesome individuals who got together and said, hey, we really appreciate what you're doing over there, Robert. We want to help you out monetarily. I greatly appreciate it, especially now, in almost 2 weeks now going on, trying to get over COVID, and it has thoroughly rocked my world. Obviously, I had to miss a lot of work, and therefore I had to miss out on a lot of money. Just like you guys, you know, I don't do this full-time. This is not my full-time gig. I actually have a job outside of the studio, and it's what pays the bills. This is my labor of love, and it brings in a little bit of income, not enough to cover the bills though. So with that being said, now more so than ever, I so much appreciate each and every one of these individuals who have signed up to become a VIP member, who have signed up to the YouTube membership as a supporter there, or who have signed up to become a Patreon supporter. Now, You're going to get your most bang for your buck if you decide to support the channel by going with the VIP membership, simply because it's just got so much value crammed in there that it's definitely going to it's going to be a great blessing to anyone who decides to sign up. Apart from, you know, just exclusive tutorials that help to train you, there's also, if you've seen my raw track reaction videos, all of those are in there commercial free, with like an extra 10 to 15 minutes of extra content where I actually break down the tracks, solo things out, talk about the production elements and how we can apply those to our own productions to hopefully learn and get better from that. So thank you so much for all of you all. You guys rock. I love you guys. Now let's give a word to our sponsors, and then we'll kick this bad boy off. Today's video is sponsored in part by the 𝗏𝗵𝗲 Academy. The 𝗏𝗵𝗲 Academy offers affordable courses from mentors, world-class engineers, Grammy winners, and multi-platinum selling producers. And with the resources available on the 𝗏𝗵𝗲 Academy, you can learn how to create radio-ready mixes from the comfort of your own home studio. Most of the courses also offer multi-tracks that you can then add to your portfolio and begin to build out your business. Follow the link in the description of this video to head on over to the 𝗏𝗵𝗲 Academy today and start learning the skills that are needed to take your hobby or your business to the next level. All right, we are back and better than ever. And as of right now, I'm still testing positive for COVID, but they said that you can do that up to like 90 days after the fact. But I can smell again. Thank the Lord. I can taste again. Are you Irish? I actually have a lot of Scottish blood in my bones. I've got a lot of Scottish in me. Scottish Irish. It's kind of the, I don't want to say it is the same, but it's close to the same. But yeah, we are going to be talking about just pretty much anything. So if you guys want to ask some questions, you are more than welcome to do so. We're going to try to get to all of the questions that we possibly can. And what I like to do normally is put these questions up on the screen. And so I'm going to try to do so. And it looks like I got my first question already popped up there. Let's make sure that that comes up right. Yes, good deal. Okay, so this was actually one of the first questions that came in the chat before we even started. So shout out to Shane Simpson, who is an early bird. And ironically, he says, what's the best way to get, pardon me. He says, what's the best way to get a good vocal sound just using an SM58 or SM58 beta? So, typically speaking, now this is just, take this with a grain of salt, but this is just my opinion. An SM58 or an SM58 beta has some good qualities for a lot of things, but it's not predominantly a, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the SM57. The SM58 is the vocal mic. Okay, hold on here. Let me back up here. So the SM58 is a vocal mic. Let me make sure I got the right one here. Yes, okay. So if you look at the SM58 in and of itself, it's got the grill on the top. Most of them either have like a switch or they have, or they don't have a switch at all. What you want to do though is, and this is across the board pretty much anywhere with any microphone. What you can do is you can literally go into, and I'll show you here on the desktop real quick. You can literally find the SM58, the description of it from the website, and 9 times out of 10, you can even find this little thing right here. Okay? This is called the frequency response graph of that microphone. This is going to be like your silver bullet. Okay? This is what you need to look at before you start making adjustments, or a lot of times before you even buy a mic at all. I would definitely check this out. So according to this frequency response, it starts at about 50 hertz and gradually has an attenuation up to about 100 hertz, or a boost, I should say, not an attenuation. So it sort of levels out from 100 hertz all the way to somewhere around 5,000, 4,000 kilohertz. Or no, that would actually be hertz still, sorry. And then it has like a little bit of a dip down between 5 to 900 hertz. And then there's a huge boost. I say huge, it's actually about 3 to 4 dBs, which is still, that's kind of a huge boost. Around the 3,000 to roughly 6,000 kilohertz, there's a boost there. There's a small dip here where it kind of comes back down to where it should be, and then there's another boost, like a top end boost around 7 to 9. That right there has given me a lot to work with as far as in terms of what I could do to make this mic work for me. So first and foremost, this is a good area. Okay, we already have an attenuation at the problem areas for vocals. So a lot of that low end normally gets shaved off anyway, especially in the mixing process. I would even go as far as to say with this microphone based off of this graph, you probably wouldn't even need to do much low end cutting at all, unless it was a deeper, richer male vocal. Now, with that being said, typically speaking on vocals, you do want this boost in this area to get sort of that top end sheen, and it definitely looks like it has it. So that's a plus as well. And then this dip here, ironically enough, is usually about where the sibilants have a tendency to lie. So sibilants are those nasty S sounds and T sounds and ch sounds and all of those things that just are ear piercing. They don't sound good at all. And it's one of those things that just make you sort of like, what's going on? So because there's a dip there, that's a good thing too. And then it starts to slowly gain some momentum back in the area here around 9,000 kilohertz. So honestly, just out of the gate, of course, every singer is different, but right out of the gate, I would say that you really wouldn't have much of a problem whatsoever getting a good vocal sound out of this, just simply based off of this graph. Now, if you wanted to get a better vocal sound, that comes with a lot of different things. Okay, that comes with proper mic holding, mic handling. Okay, a lot of singers, especially, they want to grab that grill and cup their hand around it, and they think they look really cool when they do that. You don't want to do that. That destroys this frequency graph, because whenever you have something over top of that, whatever it is, that diaphragm, as you can see right now, by covering my microphone, it has completely changed the way this microphone sounds. And when I take my hands off again, there we go, we're good to go. What that is that's called the proximity effect. So as you get closer to the microphone, you're going to start getting a lot deeper tones. And as you back off, things are going to get a little thinner, and they're going to get a little more leveled out. So you want to find a sweet spot. And that's what this area right here is for, is actually for holding the microphone. It's not this area, it's this area. Now, every singer is different. Some singers are going to sound a lot better on this microphone than others. But right out of the gate, I think you have a really good starting point with this microphone. The magic of a good vocal typically comes in the mixing phase anyway. And that's where, obviously you want to start from the source. You want to try to get the best possible, whatever it is, male, female vocalist, whatever that might be. You want to make sure you get the best possible recording you can get from the source. But once you get that, obviously you want to spend a lot of time on that. But once you get that, you also want to make sure that now that you have that best source material, then you can put it into your DAW and start doing other things with it, which a lot of times it's doing what I call surgical EQ, where you're hunting and pecking for like resonances and nasal sounds or throaty sounds, or yet again, it might be, a lisp. It might be more sibilants than what is desired to have there. So with all that being said, right out of the gate, the microphone should be an excellent choice. I've definitely used them before, and I can honestly say that they do a good job. I don't actually own one because it's more of a live setting microphone. I'm not saying that it couldn't be used in a studio setting. In fact, they are all the time. I just personally do not have one. I was going to try to see if they had the beta. See, the beta is actually not much different than, let's see here. And there's the dog going crazy. Okay. Okay, so here we go. This should be close. 58A. And honestly, I think the only thing that really separates the beta from the original is that there's no frequency response. That's not cool. There should be. Maybe I just missed it. It might be here. Yeah, they got plenty of reviews and stuff like that, but I don't see the frequency response. They are supposed to, oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. SM58. User guide spec sheet. I bet that's where it's at. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this is going to give us a whole slew of. So I'm actually talking in the SM7B, as you can see here. Here we go. SM48, SM57. See, this is the one I thought you were talking about to begin with. SM58, SM81. I'm not seeing the beta. Maybe it's actually on the spec sheet here. No, it's not, even though I clicked on the beta. Interesting. I would say that the only thing that really differs is either a slight difference in the frequency response, or, yeah, I can see that one there's got a little bit more of a boost there. The 48 does. Hey, what's up, mob? We're all going to learn something today. So what's the difference between the SM58 and the SM58 beta? I've probably looked this up a million times, but the SM58 has a cardioid polar pattern, while the beta is a supercardioid. Okay, so yeah, that will change the frequency response just a little bit. And with it being a supercardioid, it also means that it's going to reject more of the signal from the sides and the back. So it's going to have a tighter, narrower field of what it's actually picking up. So that's probably, obviously, that's going to change the frequency response just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, too crazy. So, yeah, but really long answer to a short question, but that's okay. Wanted to answer it nonetheless in the best way possible. Let's give a quick gander here over all of those who have hopped into the chat. Shane Simpson, good to see you, buddy. There's a first timer. And Pedro Mila, Mark George, what is up? Micah, Totakas. There's another first timer. Hey, what is happening? Herr Lefe, he's all up in here. Fenton Scanlon, good to see you, buddy. Cyber Lion, James Plunkett. There's a couple newbies. Nexus 4 demo channel. Cyber Lion. Micah. Canal de Compositor. Bruce Brooks. LLL. Jonathan Hamlet. What is up? Mob the Gamer. And Brad Haugen. Hope I said that right. Good deal. Jonathan Hamlet. Is this a question stream? Oh no, what is my most need to know question, or did I waste my question by asking this? Ronald Young. Yes, this is an Ask Me Anything. So anything audio related, anything you want to ask, go for it. Thank you so much, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 demo channel. Appreciate it. For those of you who are looking on the screen right now, you've seen that the entire room was just lit up like some kind of a space scene from Space Odyssey or something. There's lasers. There's stinking lasers everywhere. And that is all due to the efforts of the 𝗧𝗵𝗲 demo channel, who just gave a 99-cent super chat. You rock. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Every little bit helps, that's for sure. Now I just got to figure out how to turn that off. And there we go. Okay. So yeah, every time we get a super chat on this channel, the room lights up like that, if you're wondering. All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead back to the questions here and try our best to scroll back through here and make sure we didn't miss anything. 𝗃𝗧𝗏 says, hi, I just come forward to say thank you for the video, the way you make me feel. That was so brilliant. Thanks for sharing this. Yeah, no problem. Love your channel, man. Always awesome stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hello from Stockholm, Sweden. Just taking a break from the July mixing challenge. It's fun. Good deal. Awesome. Hope it's okay to add an instrument. Which one is a secret? Yeah, you are more than welcome to add anything to it. You can chop it up and make it a complete remix. The only thing that you cannot do is completely replace the lead vocal and the acoustic guitar. Now, if you want to take that lead vocal and leave all of the lyrics in there and still chop it up, or you want to treat it differently, you want to do, as long as it's not, the lyrical content is still there and the majority of the song is still intact, you should be good. But if it's a complete remix, you can even do that. So what's up, Fenton? He says, hello. I can't watch right now, but I will later. Sorry. Question, getting that analog warmth from all digital recording. That's a good question. So, and it's also one that's kind of it's also one that's kind of I guess subversive would be a good word for it. It's very polarizing. That's a better word for it. So a lot of times when it comes to getting analog warmth in a digital world, obviously the best thing that you can do, which not everyone has access to, so I never really tell people to do this, but the best thing that you can do is actually run it through analog gear first before it hits your DAW. So that way you get some sort of a transformer, some kind of a tube, some kind of a circuitry that's passing that signal through it first, an analog piece of outboard gear, an amplifier, a guitar pedal, even something like that, that will give you that a little bit more, takes the digital edge off of things. Now, with that being said, there are other ways within the DAW that you can actually do this as well. And one of the things that I absolutely love to do, as most of you have seen here on the channel, is I love to use what's called console emulation. And what that's doing is it's emulating a console within your DAW. So it's not an actual analog console, it's just emulating that. It's trying to make up for the lack thereof. And so it will look something like this, as my head is in the way. So in Cakewalk, what you can see here, and I'm going to zoom in, this is the console emulation channel. And this says console C because it's for the channel emulation. So if I was to turn this on and pass audio through this, I can then turn up the drive. And what that's going to do is just add just ever so slight a bit of harmonic saturation, which is then that sound that you're looking for. It's that analog sound. Analog sound, if I could just break this down for people and just completely simplify this, because everybody always, I kind of get that typical raised eyebrow, like, well, okay, you have a special plugin, but now what? Like, what is analog sound? So honestly, it's an amalgamation of a lot of different things, because even the analog sound itself that everyone is seeking after, It wasn't just a cut and dry, like here it is. Okay. And to sort of show this in context with your DAW, what you have here is your console emulation for the channel. Remember, we just talked about this was for the channel, and I'm going to not be able to write with my mouse. So, that says channel, I promise. But then, so you go from here, and now this one says console B. Well, what does that mean? That means that this is the console emulator for the bus. So just like in a real analog situation, and this is why I mean it's an amalgamation of a lot of things, because their console would be running, the audio would be running through the console. It would get a small amount of, or depending on what kind of console it was, if it was like a Neve console, you know, it's going to get more or less based off of what kind of input signal was going into it. But for the most part, let's just say it's your typical setting. It would get a small amount of harmonic saturation. There would be something added to the signal that was not previously there. And it's usually a very mild form of distortion, which is what saturation is, just a very mild form of distortion. It's the signal going into analog converters that are just too hot, and so it causes this garbled sound that sounds good, in all honesty. So with that being said, it would get an amount here of, the room has been lit up once again. Thank you so much, Nexus Demo Channel. Love and appreciate you. So what happens is the console would get hit with this signal, and the signal then would get just a little bit of harmonic saturation based off of how much they drove it, how much input signal went into it, yada, yada, yada. But then it would go to this bus here, and now it would get just a little bit more. Yet again, depending on how much was being driven into it and how much drive was actually on that. So with that being said, what you're going to get is you're going to get a little bit on the way in, you're going to get a little bit on the way out, and then 9 times out of 10, they would run this into a tape machine. Okay. Now within your DAW, in this instance, it's actually, it looks like it's on the same bus strip, but this is just to make things easier for us to see and to be able to get a handle on. But typically speaking, obviously the tape would not be baked into the console itself. So this would be a separate unit, which would then get another little bit of saturation from the tape. So that analog sound that you're looking for, all of it started with digital roots, so to speak, in the sense that, you know, eventually everything was going to lead to that point, but it had to get to a point to where the end result had been sometimes pre-saturated, resaturated, and then resaturated again when it hit tape level. So with that being said, you have, at least in this scenario that we're talking about right now, 3 different elements of saturation, which then takes that signal from a DI source, from an amp, from a microphone that's recording an amp, whatever it might be, and now you have it being saturated, so you're adding harmonics into the signal. That is what you're looking for when you're looking for that analog sound. And with that being said, you can definitely get a lot closer these days than you could even 10 years ago, because stuff like this console emulation and tape emulators and all of this has gotten so much better at recreating those older modes and methods of recording. And just like Brad Haugen, I hope I said that correctly, has said here in the chat, digital is cleaner. And so what has happened is, you guys got to see this room. This is crazy. Look at this room, guys. Nexus 4 demo channel has lit the room up yet again. We have nebulas in the background. This is very fitting for the time and hour in which we live, where we have more pictures of space than ever before. But with that being said, we'll go back to the desktop now. Can you achieve analog sound with the digital counterparts like I've just showed you? You can get very, very close to it. And a lot of people would say yes. You know, it's really based off subjectivity, what you feel like is actually acceptable and what's not. I personally, I love it, but there's definitely an element, and yes, I'm going to tiptoe through this minefield. There is definitely an element of the analog world that I feel like, for the most part, unless somebody can prove me wrong, I think 𝗪𝗏 is just about there. They're about ready to prove me wrong, especially with their latest release. You guys got to check that out. They are literally modeling. No, it's getting ready to come out. Actually, it already is out. Anyway, I would dare say that there is something, though, that the analog counterparts add to a signal that simply cannot be recreated digitally, yet again, unless 𝗪𝗏 is about ready to prove me wrong. What do I mean by that? Okay, so when you stick a microphone, SM57, or a Neumann U87 on overheads, or a room mic, when you stick a microphone in a room on a mic, or you're miking up an acoustic guitar, there's something that's added to that signal that you simply cannot get from a digital counterpart. There's air that's in the room. There are sounds of the room making it into the microphone. There is the cone itself. As it's being played, it's pushing air out of it, and you know, it's making a different sound. In fact, a lot of times if you want a more three-dimensional sound, I always tell people to record a real guitar cabinet. But I say all that with this caveat, okay? Because I have done a ton of recordings using guitar pedals only, using guitar emulation plugins only, and the result was so close to the real thing that the artist never said another word. Never even was the wiser. In fact, in the early days of Home Studio Simplified, when I was getting out there and, you know, sharing my knowledge with the world, I went into a Facebook forum, a group that I was invited to, and I said this about guitar recording, and I said, you know, I just love the sound of, I think it was some kind of, it was some sort of a guitar emulation, like amp cab emulation type thing. And I was like, I just love the sound of this. It's amazing. I think it comes so close to the real thing, yada, yada, yada. And I got completely picked apart. Everybody was like, dude, you're an idiot. I can't believe you said that. Nothing will ever compare to a real microphone on a real amp in a real room, pushing real air, yada, yada, yada. And so I put together a little bit of a test. And because I already knew the answer, I wanted to see if I could, I was just being a little subversive. But what I did was I took real guitar recording, matched it up as closely as I possibly could to the amp emulation, used the same riff through reamping so that it was completely the same riff. Nobody could say anything other than that. And then I posted the video up and I said, hey, check this out. This is a blind shootout. Tell me which one is the real amp in the real room with the real air. And hands down, everybody picked, everybody, including my staunchest adversary who was just going at it, was like so mad about the whole situation. He said, oh yeah, it was definitely B. To his surprise, it was the amp emulation. Everybody had picked the amp emulation and said that was the real thing. So the point is, you can definitely get very, very close these days using emulation, using the tools that's been given to us, and they're only getting better. In fact, it's getting kind of scary. Just to show you guys what I was talking about here, because I got a couple of people, I've piqued their interest, and I'm not being paid by 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Multimedia to show you guys this. I just love 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Multimedia. They're an awesome company. They've always supported this channel in numerous ways. You got to check this out though. Okay, this is what they're cooking up over there. AI machine modeling. Coming to a theater near you. Analyze the sound of your rig using a machine learning neural network. Now you can turn any amp into a virtual tone model. Now guys, if this really works like they're saying it's going to work, game changer. So basically, you let this machine, volume up, sorry. Okay, now tell me that's not freaky. So literally what you do is you let your, the machine, the AI, listen to your amp, your pedal, all of your gear combined. You let it listen to it. It makes an imprint of it, then gives you all of the settings that you need to recreate it digitally. Now that sounded very close. Okay, that's what I meant a minute ago about 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Multimedia might actually prove me wrong. If that actually comes out the way that it's supposed to, the way that they're saying it's going to, there's no hope. So, with that being said though, think of how much money you could save. You could just go rent all of the favorite gear that you've ever wanted, get a good capture of it, and then boom, come back. And you have it for life. This has been a moment of clarity with Robert McClellan. Or, it's been the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life. AI taking over the music industry. It's already doing it. But anyway, with that being said, what if your AI is tone deaf? That's funny. So I'm getting a couple of different questions here. I'm going to go back to the questions so I don't divert, because everybody knows my ADD is strong. The ADD is strong in this one. I've learned so much from your videos. Thanks. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Hello from SoCal. Thank you for your videos and all you do. Awesome. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. I don't know why I just did that in a British accent. I mean, he's kind of got a little bit of a British accent, but it's not. Anyway. Okay, boss. That was a little bit a while ago, so I'm not even sure what that was about at this point. Hi, folks. Are you Irish? We went through that. I hope you're well. Yes, I'm getting better. Nice t-shirt. Well, thank you. This came from the lovely Emerald Isle in North Carolina. Emerald Isle. Beautiful. The first and only vacation we've ever had as a family. And I'm still paying for it. It's not the same. I'm Irish. I said a minute ago, Scottish, Irish, it's kind of the same. He's correcting me. That's fine. That's fine. I'll take that. Thanks for giving us your time. Yeah, no problem. How long did it take you to remember all the frequency numbers when EQing, as I'm still having to refer to the EQ cheat sheet? A long time. A long time. And a lot of trial and error. That's why I'm always trying to tell people, like, do more of it, because eventually it just becomes second nature. You hear something, you go, oh, I know where that's at. And then you're like, boom, you find it, and everybody's none the wiser. You're just rocking it. Well, thank you again. It is a nice t-shirt. Greetings from New York. What is up, Bruce Brooks? Good to have you. Micah says, nice. Hi, guys. Oh, a profile picture. Whoa. Hello, Jonathan Hamlet. Good to see you. That's another first-timer. We might have already got you, Jonathan, but if we did, that's fine. Here's another one. And the newest member, who's actually been a member for over 16 months, Mob the Gamer. Good to have you, as usual. This man is a beast when it comes to making music himself. He's got some awesome songs out there. And congratulations, by the way, for your recent graduation. Just recently graduated from college, and I'm looking forward to... he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. So, Cyberlion says, I started with Fast Tracker many years ago. Now I'm learning Cakewalk. I bought 𝗕𝗲𝗃 T4 controller, and I feel like I'm 20 again. Awesome. That's what music will do for you. It's sort of like the nectar of life. Mobby. Mark. These guys they got some bromance going on. Every time we come on the stream, they're all bromancing, which is fine, by the way. I'm fine with bromance. How's it going? Oh, they're talking to each other. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, look at that. I have an old AKG C2000B. Is that an okay mic for simple vocal recordings by me, a keyboardist? Absolutely. Any microphone. I mean, I'll just say this. Any microphone could potentially become a vocal microphone. Don't not record vocals because you don't have the right mic. By all means, use what you have and try to get a good sound out of it. That is another method of learning as well. Because a lot of times, like when you have a microphone that's maybe not the greatest microphone, it teaches you a lot about EQ when you go back to, the cutting board. It teaches you a lot about, what does sound good on my vocals. And you might even find out that a microphone that might be obscure and a cheaper, lower end microphone might actually be the best option for you. A lot of times, Michael Jackson had access to Neumann U87s and $8,000 Neumann microphones, and he chose this for like 90% of the Thriller album. So he actually sang into an SM57 before. So there's really no rules when it comes to that. Just use what you have and try to get the best possible recording you can. Nexus 4 Demo Channel Super Chat. Thank you so much. Samsung Q7. Okay. Jonathan says, is this a question? Oh yeah, I answered that here a minute ago. Yeah. Mark says he's still $1 million shy of being a millionaire. Oh my goodness, how far along have I? I've missed everything. What is your experience and thoughts regarding R-Bass? Love it. Absolutely love it. Yes. It is amazing. Can I play it reversed? The Waves R-Bass. Oh, on the song contest? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello from Christchurch, New Zealand. Really enjoying your song breakdowns. Well, thank you so much. And by the way, he's a first timer, so let's give him the first timer round of applause. So is Alex Jackson. Good afternoon from Canada. We love our Canadians around here, by the way. Got a lot of Canadians on the channel. Any ideas on why my band's tracks that are made in the studio are quiet, but if we take the same DAW file and mix it ourselves, the mix changes depending on the device, speaker, monitor? Is this mastering? I'm assuming there's a lot of variables there. But typically speaking, it's going to seem quiet when recorded in the studio because they're probably trying to make use of the headroom in which they have. Most studios these days are recording in 24-bit, 48K, some of them are even 96K, or even higher. But the higher that they set their bit rate and sample rates, 9 times out of 10, the quieter the recordings are, and that's basically just to make sure that they're capturing the best performance without a lot of the noise floor. So when you take it into your DAW and you go to compress things and begin to add, volume automation, stuff like that, you're not boosting a noise floor, you're just boosting the actual level itself. So when you bring it into your space, obviously it's going to be completely different because every space has its own unique sound. That's why a lot of people would say, oh, I can't wait to go and record at Sunset Sound, or I can't wait to go and record at, insert famous studio here, Blackbird Studios, wherever it might be, because they knew that studio had its own specific sound. And like their drum rooms all sounded different. Like Abbey Road had its chambers, reverb chambers that people were always seeking after to get reverb on their vocals. That was just natural reverb. So every studio is going to have its own sound, and your studio is going to obviously sound a lot different because your listening environment is going to be different. So hopefully that answered your question. Jaden Jacob Comedy, what is up? If you don't mind me asking, I quite like some of the FX in BandLab online, which I notice aren't in Cakewalk. Would you happen to know if I can download the effects for Cakewalk, or is it only pro plugins? So the beauty of this is Cakewalk and BandLab are interchangeable. So anything that you make on BandLab, you can bring it into Cakewalk and vice versa. It's actually very, very easy to do that. There's options on the screen whenever you go to export something. In fact, if I was to show you real quickly here, close this out, I could go up to File, and right here you can see where it says Browse BandLab Projects or Publish to BandLab. So from there, I can literally take anything that I've worked with here, and I can bring it into BandLab, and you can do the same in BandLab. So you can actually import, show you that. So if I went to import, I can import a BandLab project as well. So this is why a lot of times, this is why a lot of time, whoa, what did I just do? There we go. This is why a lot of times I will tell people, like, I feel like BandLab is sort of like the baby brother of Cakewalk, but it still has its uses, just like your baby brother. You don't want to just throw your baby brother out on the streets and quit loving the guy. So it has its uses, but it's not like the full-fledged, it doesn't have the full array of things that you could do with it. I will say, however, though, that a lot of the effects that are used on BandLab are getting better and better every time. In fact, while I was quarantined in my room for 10 days, I actually made an entire song just using the BandLab app, just to try it, just to have fun with it, because I was going stir crazy. So I told my wife, I was like, I don't care if I can barely even hold my head up off the pillow. I want my guitar. I can't play it right now, but in a few days I might be able to. And I was able to, in which case I now have something to show for that. And I might even be able to pull that up here in a little bit. But anyway, that being said, you have a lot of different options at your fingertips. So just use the options that you have available and try your best to make it work for you. Next is for demo channel. When does the submitted song contest actually start again? Okay, that's a good question. In fact, I've already got it pulled up here. Let's take you over here to the desktop. So the mixing contest, which I have the link to the mixing contest, it's already posted in the chat. It's pinned at the very top. So if you need to find it, you can go straight to the top, or I believe it's also in the description of the video already. But you can also just go to HomeStudioSimplified.com, and it's at the very top. In fact, let me just go back. So if you was to go to HomeStudioSimplified.com, this is what you would land on. And then here at the very top, you'll see where it says July Mixing Contest. And I even put 2 blue diamonds around it so it'd be easier to find. And you can simply just click on this, and that's going to take you straight to this page. It's going to tell you about the sponsors and the mystery prizes that are soon to be revealed. My apologies. While I was sick, I did not reach out to the companies like I was supposed to. But I am still going to make sure that we still have some more mystery prizes. In fact, I'm going to reveal one of them right now. One lucky person is going to win an all-access pass through the Rocket Fuel Bundle program. So, with that being said, that's one of the mystery prizes revealed. But yeah, you can come over here to this page and literally click Count Me In, put in your name, your email address, and you can download the multi-tracks today. Now, even if you don't enter the contest, you can still get these free multi-tracks. So there's no stipulation based on that. Here's the official rules for the contest itself, and here is your time limit. So you have 2 days, 6 hours, 44 minutes, and 6 seconds, and you can literally now come straight here and even upload your mix straight to here. If you've already uploaded it, it'll show this. You've already responded. And then there's also just like some FAQs here. When will the winner be announced? Where can we hear the winning mix? If my mix is chosen, will it be credited? So all of the information is here on one place now. Super simple to find. You can come get your multi-tracks and even submit your mix here. Okay? So hopefully that'll answer any of the questions that we had about that. And I was trying my best to make this as streamlined as possible, but yet again, I was down for like 2 weeks. It's set the channel behind. It's set my finances behind. It's rocking my world, but at least I'm alive. That's one way to look at it. So with that being said, if we go back to questions real quick here. Dane Clark, what is up, brother? Got a first timer. He says, I'm a huge fan. Just wanted to know if there's any specific themes you like. I would appreciate it if you could answer this. Themes, yes. So if we go back to Cakewalk. Go back to the desktop only. So I have actually a couple of themes that you can get for free by, well, they're not necessarily free. If you become a VIP member or you become a YouTube member, you can get both of my themes that I've created myself. That's the HSS theme that you see here, where it's sort of this blue theme. I love blue if you haven't figured that out yet. And then also if you come up here to the help window and you go to, let's see, where is it at? About Cakewalk. Yeah. This has all of my social stuff on here, which normally that's not there, but this is my theme, so I'm doing it. But then there's also, I've got one that's called the Sheen theme, and I've actually got it. Where's it at? Yeah. So there's this one here, and it's telling me there's some incompatibility, which means I've got to update it again. But this one's just very like sort of more drab, but everything up here, like the buttons and everything, kind of look a little bit like an iPhone, like it has that glossy look to it. Well, a sheen look to it, which is why I called it the Sheen theme. And then when you go to your console view, you can see like everything is darker, and everything has sort of this shine look to it. Also, the knobs and everything are colored just a little bit differently. It makes it look just a little bit different. And then you have your stock themes, which is Mercury. So this is kind of like what you would have been looking at if you were looking at the old Cakewalk sonar. This is pretty much what it came with. And then they later added Tungsten, which this one's actually really cool. This is a stock theme that you get right out of the box. And to me, it kind of looks a little bit, reminiscent of like a Reaper or Studio One or something like that. But as usual, Cakewalk was way ahead of the curve a long time ago. And I think, personally, I'm a little bit partial to this, but I think Cakewalk has some of the best looking interface of all the DAWs that are out there. There's just so many things, and it's completely customizable. I mean, anything that you want to do with this thing, you can change anything. In fact, they even give you a theme editor, which is how I made this. So you can completely change everything. So yeah, that would definitely be my favorite theme though, is the HSS theme. I use it all the time. Hey, good. He's probably already gone. Well, see you later, Micah. If you get this later, sorry to see you go, brother. Okay. This was a great explanation about analog. Did you play any of the instruments on Shake the Bones? Yes, the electric guitar is mine. The bass is mine. I'm not a bass player, but I did my best. And the pads that's in the background, that's mine as well. So essentially, the only thing that's not mine, I should say this, the only thing that's not mine is his vocals and the acoustic guitar. Everything else is mine. I think Cakewalk has the best. Oh, I just seen that. Okay. Love what you do. I've been a Cakewalk user since way back when I had to buy it. Yeah, me too. I bought the Sonar Platinum, and then 2 weeks later is whenever they shut it down and said, no more support. And I was like, no, I've lost it. And then BandLab came in and bought it. So I use an old RCA dual recording deck that I run my finished wave through. Oh, that's a good idea. Analog sound has soul. That's true. So the arcade plugin suddenly won't work in Cakewalk. Had it for almost a year, no problem. Now can use any idea of what's going on. I would definitely try to update the plugin. Try to update your computer, update Cakewalk, try to uninstall, reinstall, and if none of that works, I would reach out to the company and see if maybe there's something that they can do. But 9 times out of 10, it's usually just an update issue. There's a lot of analog compressors like that. Oh yeah, that was about the... Okay. I wonder what Hal would say. IK has already started the patch sharing in Guitar Rig. I'm sure that the AI will be an extension of that. Yes. Yep. Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip the wait staff. For the EQ question, there is an app you can download to play EQ frequency identification games. Yes, I believe it's called Sound Gym. I would definitely recommend to get your ears trained. Definitely go and check that out. In fact, I need to reach out to them, see if we can't do some kind of a promotional here on the channel. Well, absolutely. Yeah, there's no age limit to this awesomeness. So if the mic you're using is an MV7 and it is worth buy another mic, your Vox sounds so warm. I'm not sure if that's a question or if you're just stating something there. So, hey, what's up, Mary and Sam? Some awesome people on this planet. Good to see you in here. The submission. Yes. Message retracted. I'm not sure what's going on here, Lefe. When EQing, I am cutting some mid-lows to remove the honky sounds, but then the end mix sounds tinny. What's the best way to put that tone back in? Please, Robert. So a lot of times the best way to put it back in is to never take it out in the first place. Usually if there is a honky sound, you can actually use a very surgical or a very tight notch filter to take that sound out. And then from there, if it still has that lacking that you're looking for, a lot of times you can use the analog console emulation. You can use distortion, saturation. There's various different ways to add that back in. Oops. This whole time I thought I was on this screen. So there's various different ways to do that. But 9 times out of 10, if you're taking something out and it's damaging the mix, you're either taking it out in too many places or you're just taking out too much of it. Like a lot of times there's a 3 dB rule. I don't talk about this very often, but I need to. Actually, I need to bring this up maybe in the VIP member section, do a whole video on this. But there's a 3 dB rule where your ear will not pick up on any kind of changes unless it's 3 dBs or greater. So typically speaking, what I do is I start at 3 dBs and I'll go a little bit farther. And when I start to hear that effect take place, then I dial it back by about 3 dBs. This way I'm not overkilling it, but I know something has taken place. It's just my ear doesn't necessarily pick up on it at that given time. That's definitely helped me. REO Speedwagon used to approve their final mixes based on how it sounded on a particular car stereo. Yes, I believe that. The car stereo test is definitely a win. T before clicking the export to BandLab in the top right. Okay. Do you use studio simulation software like Acoustica or Audio Sienna? No, but I do use SonarWorks, which is kind of the same thing. It just basically tunes your speakers and your headphones to a flat frequency response. So rather than making it sound like you're in another studio, it just gives you a flat frequency response to make sure that you're sounding like it's supposed to coming out of your speakers or into your headphones. Do you have to select all before clicking export to BandLab in the top right? I believe so. Yes. Models and trains. Hey, there's a new one. Good to have you here. It says, loving these videos and your work, especially the Michael Jackson tracks. Hello, all the way from the UK. Quick question. Ever thought of working on Michael Jackson's Leave Me Alone? At some point in time, I'm going to try to get through the biggest majority of Michael Jackson's discography. I have a ton of his multi-tracks, so it's just a matter of time of getting through them. And I'm also trying to make sure that I don't just stick with just Michael Jackson, because as awesome as they are, I have to throw in some variety, because not everybody is a Michael Jackson fan, and not everybody, you know, just wants to see nothing but Michael Jackson. So I do have to throw in some variation every once in a while. But yes, I'm going to be revisiting Michael Jackson, and probably even that song at some point in time. In fact, for those of you that are here today, little sneak peek, the next song that's going to be coming out for the Raw Track Reactions is going to be a Prince song. Now, Prince songs, generally speaking, will get blocked the second that you release them. So it's probably going to be a live stream where we listen to it live together, and then you'll have to be a VIP member to go in to view that video over and over and over if you'd like to. But Prince, the Beatles, the Eagles, these are all three bands that the second you post the video, it immediately gets blocked, which when it's blocked, that means you can't even play it at all. It's not even searchable. When it gets demonetized, like most of the Michael Jackson videos, that just simply means that all of the views that I accrue from that and the ads that are being shown on the video, I don't get any recompense for that. I get no monetization. So a lot of times, you know, I kind of shoot myself in the foot by doing a lot of these videos, but it's fun. So, it doesn't pay the bills, but it's fun. So Andre says, hey, everybody. But hopefully that answers your question. Sorry, I wasn't trying to, sometimes I fly through these questions and then I feel like I'm leaving people hanging. Is the contest submission meant to contain an uploaded WAV file? Is meant to contain. Yeah, your final mix should be either WAV or high quality MP3. Would you happen to know how to fix a latency issue in BandLab online? I tried the latency test as well as lowering the bitrate on my sound card, and nothing is working. That's one of the biggest hangups, Jaden, that I have about the BandLab's, the online version of it. And that's why I still say it's like the baby brother to Cakewalk, because it has a lot of power, but I just don't know how to use it yet. It's got a lot of potential, much like your baby brother does, but they're just not there yet. And I'm still working very closely with BandLab to try to get some things changed. And that's one of the things that we are working on trying to address. As a BandLab insider, I have a little bit more insight, a little bit more pull whenever I say, like for instance, I don't think they've changed it as of yet, but for the longest time, if you was to export one of your tracks or you wanted to download those individual tracks, it would say download stems. And I just talked to Brian, who happens to be the main guy that's heading all this up. And I told him, I said, we need to change that wording. That needs to be multi-track. And he kind of looked at me and was like, what? And I was like, well, it's common knowledge within the audio recording world, at least the professional audio world, that stems are like a series of tracks that's stemmed, that's sent to a bus. And then that bus is sent out as one track, but it's actually like, say for instance, like with drums, it might be all of the toms, the snare, the kick, the ride cymbals, all that is sent to one bus. That one bus track is then sent out as one track. That would be a stem. So it's all kinds of stems going into one bus and then sent out as one single file. However, what they're doing is multi-tracks, because it's each individual track within the project. So that is a multi-track. That's one individual track. So in the same instance of the drums, it would be the individual snare, the individual kick. That's a multi-track recordings. So much like what we're doing on the channel with the raw track reactions, those are multi-tracks. Occasionally we run into some where there's stems involved. In fact, a lot of the Led Zeppelin stuff that we're going to be doing in the future is just stems, which is fine. But we need to separate the difference between the two, because we don't want an entire generation that's rising up through the ranks that's calling something the wrong name. We want to make sure that we're sticking with there's not very many rules when it comes to recording, but we at least need to make sure that the terminology stays the same. Otherwise, we lose a lot of really good knowledge that a lot of people that have went before us have worked hard to make sure that it's stayed the way that it is. I feel like I just went off on a rant. That's fine, though. Martin or Charlie Sheen? Ooh, that's a good question. I would say Charlie. I think I'm more of a Charlie Sheen guy. Definitely don't agree with his lifestyle. But as far as his acting, and he's just a funny guy. Best interface. That's right. Oh, okay. That's about Cakewalk. Okay. Good deal. And Cakewalk is free. Brad says, my theme and preferences is just Tungsten and Mercury. Yeah, those are the two stock that you're going to get with Cakewalk by BandLab. Those are the two that you're going to get right out of the gate. Now you can go in there and change anything about those with the Cakewalk theme editor. It's a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's very fun. Or if you join as a member here on the YouTube channel, I think it's at 99 cents, even at 99 cents a month, which I see none of. But still, even if you join as a member, you'll get access to both of my themes, the Sheen theme and the HSS theme, which I obviously need to update, it looks like. Greg, what is up, buddy? Got a new timer here. He says, I keep getting audio dropout. I have a Motu M2, great CPU, and 64 gig of RAM. Wow. What am I doing wrong? It's that little Cakewalk message that says audio has dropped out. My first inclination would be that you are using ASIO drivers or ASIO drivers. And what I would do is, and I've been doing this now for years, and people are like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be doing that. And I'm like, guys, if it's working, it's working. So what I've done is I always go up to preferences, and under playback and recording, you'll see right now, I have it set to my driver mode set to MME. Okay. Set your driver mode to MME and see if it gets any better. If it does not, then more than likely what it is it's your buffer settings. So if you come down here to, I'm in MIDI, sorry. Yeah, playback and recording, driver mode. See, there's ASIO, Wasapi shared, MME all the way. But more than likely, if you're still getting dropouts, it's going to be because of this little thing right here. This is your buffer. So if your buffer size is set to fast, you're going to probably end up with more dropouts if your computer just can't handle what's going on. Now, your computer sounds like it's really beefed up, like you have a lot going on there. So it might just be a thing of switching to MME, and that would fix it all. I would just try that first, and if it doesn't work, we can try to work through it. In fact, I do offer, by the way, if you did not know this, shameless plug, but I do offer on my website, if you go to the store up here, I do offer consultations right here, and you can schedule those based on what time is good for you. I'll immediately get a calendar. It'll automatically put it on my calendar, and I'll know what time would be good for you. Typically those are Zoom meetings. And then from there we can try to figure out, sometimes 30-minute consultation is all it takes. A lot of people usually schedule an hour just simply because that way they can ask as many questions as they want. And so yeah, shameless plug, but it needs to be said because I am told very often that I never try to sell my services enough. They're like, you've got stuff that people could be using and you're not even telling them about it. So Thanks for these videos, Roberts. It's amazing to be able to pick the brains of someone who has so much knowledge. Knowledge, yes. That's pretty much went out the window a long time ago. I'm just winging it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mark. You're an awesome individual. Cakewalk still crashes from time to time for me. Is it a Cakewalk issue or more related to my plugins or other software on my computer? What's your experience on this topic? So I always try to keep Cakewalk updated. Now, when they get that little thing at the bottom of the screen and it says, hey, you've got a new update for Cakewalk. It's the latest, greatest thing. I usually wait about a week or two just so they work the bugs out, unless, because I'm on the beta testing program, unless I'm supposed to get on there and test something out for the beta test. In which case, usually I will share on my channel some of the new updates that they've just recently given it or something like that. But for the most part, keeping Cakewalk up to date is your best bet. Now, when it comes to plugins, 9 times out of 10, third-party plugins will give you the most hangups if they're not up to date. So you got to make sure that your plugins are up to date. So yet again, it keeps coming back to this, and I sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. Make sure everything is up to date. So what is up? DJ Big Red 81 just came in here. What is up, brother? Yes, variety is best for the roll track reactions. A stem is usually an instrument in an orchestra. About your theme, Robert. Okay. What is a reasonable price level for an audio interface for an amateur? Anywhere from $150 to $300. The Focusrite 2i2s, they're solid. A lot of people right now are bashing Focusrite. I've still got one. I still use it predominantly. It's a 6i6, I believe. It's solid. Okay. You don't have to go out and get like Antelope Audio and YouAudio and all this crazy $1,000 interfaces with only 2 inputs. That's stupid. I'm sorry, that's not stupid. That's just not a wise purchasing decision, I should say. But yeah, anywhere from $150 to $300. In fact, if you look in the description of the video, I actually offer up a lot of reasonable suggestions for that. And if you go to, yet again, shameless plug, if you go to my website, there's a recommended section up here at the top. This is my recommended plugins, and also affordable interfaces is found here. You can simply click this and you can go through here, and it should take you, yeah, it should take you to this page here where you then can look at these different interfaces, find out which one might be useful for you. And then you should be able to get a price. Oh, based off of where you want to buy it from. Okay, so yet again, right here, 180. That's the 3rd gen. So it's actually, yeah, it's got the air, direct monitoring, 48 volt phantom power. Right there is like everything you need, especially if you're just a solo artist. These combo jacks are amazing. You can plug in a high Z input, like a guitar or a bass, or you can plug in a microphone with an XLR. So yes, excellent, excellent interfaces. I'm a big fan of Focusrite. I don't care what anybody says. They're still good. The Behringers, they're good because they're so cheap, but I have heard a little bit of about them. Now, the UMC22, I haven't heard a lot about it, so it's kind of hit or miss. I would definitely, anytime you go to buy something anyway, you definitely need to check the reviews and see what other people are saying about them. This right here is something that's definitely on my radar. It's something I would love to have, but yikes, $540. That's a lot of money. So, and with most of these too, you usually get like a plugin package, like the Scarlett plugins, which really aren't that bad. So yeah, I would definitely recommend sticking with something like that. You have a lot of options these days, and they're only getting better. It's kind of crazy. If you enjoy the content that Robert is providing and haven't already, please consider smashing that like button. I need a smash like sound. I'll put that on here. What's your favorite settings for Cakewalk by BandLab console emulation? Honestly, I slap it on and I put it on the S type, which in my opinion is subtle. And then based off of what I'm using it on, I usually turn the gain all the way up. So nothing too fancy there, but hey, it works. Is there a way for everyone to take a pic of their cakewalk theme and share it so that we can all see all the variations out there? Absolutely. So if you go to your main screen within Cakewalk, all you simply have to do is hold Control-Alt, and then there should be a button at the top of your screen that says Print Screen. And you can either hit just the Print Screen button, or Control-Alt-P will actually just take a picture of the windowed version of that. So real quickly here, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, so right here, you can see the print screen button. If I hit that just by itself, and then come over here to the desktop and open up Windows Paint, hold Control and push V. Now I'm going to be able to get a screenshot of that, and I can save it as a JPEG file, PNG file, and then upload it somewhere for people to check out. So if you're not a part of the Discord group, that'd be a great place for you to post those. We actually have a thread in there where you can share studio setups, and that would be applicable. So you also get access to Robert's Cakewalk themes and his Pro Start template if you become a VIP member. Yes, that is true. If you were not aware of the Pro Start template, and maybe you're new to Cakewalk, or you just want a quick and easy way to get up and started, and with the Pro Start template, what you get is, let me close this out real quick. If I go to New Project, here's what the Pro Start template looks like. Basically, it's everything already laid out for you, color-coded, and on each one of these tracks, you have a section here where it even gives you like some pro tips. So if I click on the lead vocals, it's going to tell me, here's some good starting points for EQ. And then a pro tip is vocals are a priority in most genres. This is the one track you can solo to make adjustments. And then backing vocals, got a little bit of a difference here. When you go to your guitars, here's some pro tip about guitars. Acoustic guitars, very, very cool. Very, very cool. Coming back to the questions here. Oh, let me make sure I'm back on my mug so you guys are actually seeing the questions as well. All right. Thank you so much for your kindness and answering my questions. God bless. Well, God bless you as well, sir. I'm using MME for headphones and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 shared for the monitors. That sounds like a crazy workaround, but if it works, that could be a channel created inside the Discord group. Absolutely. There's a section inside the VIP Discord group to share studio pics, so adding that to the main Discord group seems like a cool idea. Definitely. Is the name of your theme also to famous actors, Martin and Charlie? Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. I have a Focusrite 2i2, but decided to upgrade to a UAD Apollo. Those are nice. Those are nice. Have a Focusrite 4i4. Is it worth upgrading to a better model? Is it worth the money? The question is, does it still work? If it still works, don't upgrade. You're just going to set yourself behind. You better start putting in some overtime, Robert, if you're looking on getting new toys. Yeah, I hate overtime. Hi, Robert. If I was to recommend an interface, it would be the Evo 4 to start, just due to its smart gain and preamps. Yeah, absolutely. I've recently seen Warren Hewart covering the Evo 4, and it might be something that I reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to check this out farther. So Mark says, I have the Behringer interface, and the only issue I have is that it runs with ASIO driver, and Cakewalk does not like ASIO at all. Yes. And that's what I was speaking about earlier when I said to the individual, and I asked them, are you using that? Greg says, is there a better way to share sessions with other musicians other than Zip and Dropbox? Within Cakewalk, you can actually, there's a really cool way to do that. In fact, you can come up here to export your project as, it's save as, and I can save this project as a bundle file. What that does is everything that's within that project, when they open it up on their end in Cakewalk, it's going to look identical. So, in In fact, all the plugin instances that you put on there, everything is going to come up. Now, if they don't have those plugins, obviously they can't use them. But it's definitely a cool way to share things within the Cakewalk world. So, oh, that pro tip looks familiar. Is there a true shares session cloud of some sort? Within the VIP membership, there is a section where you can sign up to become an HSS session player, which will then give you access to a wide variety of other people that you can then collaborate with back and forth. But as far as a share session cloud, that would be within BandLab. So you can find that there within BandLab. You can share it across the entire world. So just hit the Windows key and print screen. It will be saved in your documents. Sweet. Maybe Robert could add a channel on Discord for sharing sessions. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Do you use headphones which require a headphone amp? Are those headphones better? That's a good question. No, I typically don't. I just use predominantly Audio-Technica headphones. I've always used Audio-Technica. I may change that in the near future, just simply because I've reached out to them on numerous occasions and told them, like, hey, I love your product. I'd love to get your product in front of people. And they are giving me the cold shoulder. And for those of you who have been around the channel for very long, I am really big on customer satisfaction as well as customer service. And when I don't like supporting companies that don't have good customer service. So could this change? Possibly. But right now, these were like $79 on Amazon right now. And they are amazing. They're open back. It's the ATH 500Xs, and they are amazing. All of the mixed competitions, all of the song contests I listen to through these, even without SonarWorks, I still nail it 90% of the time. Now with SonarWorks, I get that extra 10%, which then I only have to go out to the car once or twice instead of 50 times. So, but yeah. DJ is reiterating the fact that you can then create a bun file inside Cakewalk and upload it to your Google Drive. Always a great option. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have answered all the questions that we're going to answer today. But before we go, let's give a big... oh, we got one more that just crept in here. He says, Mob the Gamer says, what is the certificate that's behind you? So that is from the National Society for Leadership Success, the NSLS. And that is my certificate that I've went through the entire program of leadership training. So it's probably the only thing that I ever really stuck with to get a certificate for. But it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about leadership. Will I ever use it? I don't know. But it was fun. And I got a cool certificate, so I figured, why not hang it up? Cool questions, though. So before we go, you know what time it is. It's time to spin the wheel of awesomeness. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have a new wheel of awesomeness. On this wheel, we have this little black thing right here. See that? Little black with the stars? That's a wild card. When it lands on that, Robert just does something crazy. Let's spin that wheel. By the way, the wheel sound has changed. It kind of sounds like a cicada. That's kind of weird. Anywho, little known fact. All right, so whenever we have a little known fact, typically speaking, what I do is I tell something personal, a little known fact about myself. We've already shared the fact that I have a paper cut in my eye. We've also already shared the fact that I fell out of a car once going 40 miles an hour and lived. So today's little known fact is, are you guys ready for this? At one point in time, I got shot at. Not once, but twice. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I have been shot at with a shotgun twice on 2 different occasions. Okay. Quick story. First time it happened, we were camping. We were all being young idiots. The crew that I was with went back to town to do a beer run. Please, I'm not bragging. I've been clean and sober now for 19 years. That was my past, but this is where the story is leading. But they went back to town to do a beer run, and me and one of my best friends from middle school was there. And we heard all these trucks pulling up and all these people getting loud. And I was like, I'm going to drive them away from here. And it was around 4th of July. So I had this huge, it's called an M80. It's a firecracker on crack. So thing was huge. So I let this thing off and boom, I'm like, yeah, that'll scare them off. It got really quiet and I thought, yeah, they're leaving. Nope. I hear kaboom and I hear buckshot start flying over my head. In fact, if any of you have ever been around those deliverance type people, they're pretty good shots. Like they have, most of them hunt for their own food. So they know when they can hit you if they want to. So I knew that was just a warning shot. Me and my friend ran to the side of this hill, and where we were located, our campsite was here, and just about maybe 10 yards over was the White River, huge river. And where we were located too was not the widest, but a very wide portion of the river. So we jumped off the side of this cliff and was hanging on to roots from these trees that were down into the base of the little offshoot there. And thankfully erosion had done its job and we had enough root to hang on to. We literally hung onto those roots for like 30 minutes so that we wouldn't fall into the river. And buckshot just flying into the water behind us, flying over our heads. I was scared to death. He was scared to death. And then like all of a sudden we hear complete silence and I'm like, I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up onto the bank, onto the shore. I'm not doing it. I'm going to hang on to this little cliff for as long as it possibly takes. I dug my feet in at this point and was making sure that, my buddy wasn't going anywhere. And so I jumped up on top of the bank after this has been 45 minutes, probably went past because we heard absolutely nothing, but I heard my friends come back. I was like, did you guys see anybody on the way in? They were like, no, just a bunch of ruts up there where it looked like somebody was mudding. So I tell them the story and they swore up and down. They thought we was lying. And then I started showing them the trees. I was like, look at the leaves in the trees. And they were like, oh my goodness, are they going to come back? And I was like, I hope not. So needless to say, that night, we had a not so relaxing camping trip. We were all worried at any given moment that these guys were going to come back, but thankfully they did not. Now, the second time I went to play a birthday party at a place called 𝗬𝗓 Holler. And around these parts, 𝗬𝗓 Holler is a place that you do not go. It's one of those places where it is like Deliverance, only it's not in the mountains. It's down in the valley. And this is one of those places where it's like a long stretch of gravel road and there's trailers on each side of the road as you go down this road. It's covered by trees and forests. There's actual like bootleggers, like stills and stuff like that in the woods. These people are, and I'm not saying this to be rude, but they are predominantly known for having cousins as wives. And anyway, one of the girls that we went to school with, her name was Hannah, was having a birthday. And she said, I want you to come play for my birthday party. I'll supply you with everything you need. All you got to do is just show up. And I was like, okay. Nice. Then I show up and already whenever they told me, they was like, yeah, it's in 𝗬𝗓 Holler. And I was like, well, that makes sense because her last name was Wheeler. I was like, this is not, I don't know. Well, my buddy, he convinced me, kept convincing me. He was like, yeah, we're good. So we sat down, in the car and I throw my guitar in the back of his. He had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. We go down this road. It's middle of the night. We're going down this gravel road, super slow, trying to find the right house number. And as we're driving down this road, you can see behind us big trucks and nothing but trucks were pulling up behind us. They had their lights on, just like single file. It was like the convoy, like leading us all the way down the road. Like we don't know what your vehicle is. And they all know each other very well, obviously. So we finally get to Hannah's dad's house trailer, which is located out here. And they realize when we pull in, they're like, oh, obviously they know someone on the road, so we're fine. All of the lights go out, they disappear. It was like ghosts. I I'm getting my guitar out of the back of his hatchback, and I get ready to turn the corner, and the screen door on this trailer kicks open, and this guy with a big long beard, bib overalls, no shirt underneath, has a shotgun in his hand, and he's just like, boom, shoots it off into the woods right next to me. Yet again, buckshot flying everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, 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 what's going on? He's like, who are you? Of course, he said some other choice words. And here comes Hannah screaming and crying. She's like, Dad, that's our entertainment. I was like, yeah, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. So we go in, we played, I think 3 songs, and I was just like, yeah, guys, I'm not feeling too good, you know, after the whole almost dying thing. So I think we're gonna peace out. And my buddy that brought me there, he was like, yeah, this is crazy. It was one of the wildest, craziest. As we're leaving, same thing. The convoy pulls in behind, their lights on, lead us all the way out to the end of the road. And as soon as we get to the end of the road, poof, all the lights go out and they disappear again. I learned something that day. I will never, ever go back to Wheeler Holler. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for hopping on and for hanging out today. Hopefully you learned more than just my war stories. But with that being said, thank you all so much for hopping on the channel today. Yet again, there is still time to enter the mix contest. I would definitely recommend that you do so. There's going to be some awesome prizes given away. Not to mention, there's also going to be, you know, just the ability to get your hands on some free multi-tracks. Now, if you join the VIP membership, as I've told you before, you get access to a ton of multi-tracks. So with that being said, we go live every single week. So stuff like this happens all the time. So subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell icon so that every time I do go live, you'll know about it. And the more you hang around the channel, you'll kind of get to see sort of the pattern. There's not really much of a pattern because I work a full-time job outside of this. And last week, I actually didn't do any live stream because I was down with COVID. So there are extenuating circumstances, but most of the time we're very consistent around here. We go live once a week. We have monthly song contests. We have mixing contests like we're having right now. And we generally speaking, we'll just have a lot of fun. So if that's something that you feel like you'd like to be a part of, consider joining the family. We would love to have you. There's a lot of awesome people here in the chat right now that are amazing at what they do as well. So if I'm not around and you have to ask questions within the VIP membership or the Discord group, which is free, the Discord group is free. The VIP membership, you can get just as much help either place. And we did that to create value for those of you who don't even have money. I totally get it. Money is not easy to come by. So, but if you need to hop over to the Discord group and ask questions as well, there's tons of knowledgeable people over there as well that can help you. And I'm in there all the time too. So with that being said, I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your support, your monetary support, as well as your prayers and your, you know, just giving me a shout out every once in a while saying, hey, we appreciate what you do. That really does mean a lot to me. You guys will never know how much that means to me. So thank you all so much. Love each and every one of you. And until next time, remember, we can dream alone. We can even create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. God bless.